OneDrive's like, you have to change your password. It won't connect. I'm like, so help me God. I'm like, I need to hit something. So I just went and grabbed like an Amazon box, reconstituted it, and just took a mallet to the fucking thing.
We are live. They're saying stands us up for live stream for April Fools. It's only like 6 minutes out. I did say
Simmer
20-ish. Also, Dylan's in a prized mood, so
simmer down, kids.
Should be fun.
Oh.
How's everybody doing tonight? Which one of you is Ringo of the band? I'll start with a like. Now you have to earn it. Oh, wow. All right. How's everyone doing today?
It's Asdas.
Yeah. I don't know how many people are actually in here right now.
I don't know. I know I am.
Today is the Behringer mic review. No. Are we actually, an error occurred? Oh, so I'm not actually able to see. Y'all can see the video?
I can.
Yeah? Okay, nothing's wrong. An error has occurred on my end.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good. I was going to say it looked frozen for a second, but that's just because I wasn't moving.
Yeah, and of course I lost my, 1 second. I don't have my cursor again. Man, you know how much of a pisser that is?
Yeah, that's what happens when you got a bunch of screens.
Right?
I've managed to cater my workflow to one display, and I never lose.
I'm actually just running off my laptop right now.
Okay.
Only
Nice
3
of you.
watching. Yeah, that's, people come, they go, especially if you're not on time.
Yeah.
I get that.
When you've got UPS and dogs, and you've got
Yeah, so I sat down, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the washroom, then we'll start the stream, and then UPS guy came to pick up the Revelator microphone, and then the dogs. I came down, I'm good to go, and the dogs start whining. So, life is good. Hey, the title of this video is YouTube is going to be doing podcasts, and there's a reason I wanted to talk about that. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is I called it about 2 years ago. I actually did a video right around the time that I was trying new things. I was doing like this podcast news network where I was trying to like podcast news and blah, blah. It was a garbage idea. It never took off. One of the things I covered, though, was that YouTube was going to basically become the main provider for podcasts in the future. It's pretty simple, pretty obvious to see why. They already do it with video. It wouldn't take them much to do it with podcasts. There's massive money in podcasts right now, and they could actually do all of the analytics. They've got everything set up. They even imagine listening to podcasts through YouTube and having the next podcast just fed to you because of your recommendations. And then what about making money on podcasts? You would already have sales for YouTube that would just be going into podcast. It's obvious that it's going to happen. And rumor mill is YouTube sent a bunch of screenshots to one of the podcast people, Podnet, I think it's called, and basically outlined their plans for doing that in the future. So it is coming. Anything Google touches around podcasts is crap. You know what? I kind of agree with you. However, if they run it like they run YouTube, with the analytics, with the they're probably going to, much like they did with video, they're going to kill with it. I think it's going to be fantastic. But I also want to point out, I pointed this out 2 years ago. RSS feeds are going to die, and YouTube's going to be the one that makes them die. And I got called so many names, especially from one guy in the industry who was really mad at the very concept. So I emailed him a couple days ago. Sneed Mobile Tech, you didn't miss anything, bud. Google Play
Just getting
Podcasts,
started.
Anyone? I don't know if Google has ever tried hard with podcasts. Like Google Podcasts right now is meh. Like, does anyone use it? I don't think so. If you've got an Android, you're using your own podcatchers. Do you listen? You listen to podcasts, right, Dylan?
None. Nope.
Not a single one.
Not at all. Nope. I listen to people talk all day long. The last thing I want to do when I finish the day is to listen to a bunch of random people talk. I'm not averse to the idea, but I think the thing is I digest a lot of short and mid form content. And yes, there are shorter podcasts, but a lot of the podcasts that would be interesting to me are like an hour and a half long. I'm like, I have no time for that.
They're commuter podcasts.
Yeah.
Bangs
Well, that's
brings-
the thing. Like, I don't commute. If I was commuting, maybe I would do podcasts.
Okay, 1 second. I think someone's at my door. Of
I
course.
was gonna say, now I hear the dog. Ugh.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I've looked at podcasts and I've helped produce a few podcasts, but it's just me as a consumer. That's just not my consumer behavior. But I don't knock it. I mean, there's lots of advantages to podcasts. I think the line between video content, long form video content, and podcasts is kind of blurred in the sense that, I mean, we've got lots of podcasts that simulcast on YouTube.
UPS again,
So
God damn it.
no idea what's happening right now. Not a clue.
What's going on?
I said no. I just hear that. God damn it! And I'm like, no idea what's
No,
happening.
it was
right now.
UPS again. They're like, oh, he didn't realize the package had been picked up. God. Bangs brings up an interesting point. RSS is the only protection podcasters have. Yes. However, if you were to look at 99.9% of the podcasts out there that aren't doing anything, aren't making any money, but have the ability to grow, just don't know how to do it, YouTube would be the way to do that. YouTube would actually, it's the same thing that they do with monetization on YouTube. You get a big enough following, they can
It's
put
kind
ads
of like,
on it.
I think there's an analogy to be drawn here with what Bang said. RSS is the only protection podcasters have. In the same way that email lists are the only protection that marketers have, because if social media goes flat, which it always does at some point, the email will never go away. That's like a fact. So I think the problem though is similar to the email marketing analogy. How do you grow an RSS feed without using social media in this day and age?
Well,
or using
Apple,
a platform like YouTube.
Yeah, Apple will. I mean, there's enough of
Like you need some way to get the snowball rolling in the same way. Like, how do you generate email lists? Well, you have lead funnels that are usually funneled in from social media. So, I mean, I agree though that RSS is, kind of an independent utility, and that I think it is a fail-safe in the event that a platform goes down or whatever.
Here's the question though: all the podcasts that are being signed on Spotify as Spotify exclusives, do you think any of them have an RSS feed? Why would they? They're not going anywhere else.
Like,
there's no RSS feed.
No, I
Now
don't see that
they're
making
being
sense.
signed as Spotify exclusives. They're making tons of money. Joe Rogan leads the group. There isn't going to be an RSS feed if you want to make money based on platforms selling your content. So if YouTube starts podcasting, or starts a podcasting section of YouTube, and you want to monetize much like you would a YouTube channel, you wouldn't have an RSS feed because YouTube basically owns the right to monetizing your product. So there wouldn't be any RSS feed. Now, that said, maybe everyone doesn't go on YouTube and there are still independents out there. But what I see YouTube doing is using their algorithm to be able to promote content that has no concept or capability of promoting itself or blowing up, as you will. There's a ton of great podcasts out there that will never see the light of day. Nobody will know about them because it's just an RSS feed. YouTube can do something about that. I think it's a fascinating concept.
I think the thing about the problem with using things like RSS and email is to get, I think, the biggest bang for buck, and this is a hypothesis. You need to know marketing. You need to understand marketing, product positioning, all that stuff. YouTube and social media platforms kind of do a lot of that for you. Not all of it. You still need to have some sense of what the hell you are. But I think it's a lot easier to get that growth without necessarily needing to know about things like IDA funnels and about, basic marketing concepts and branding concepts and all that shit.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't said hi. Hi, Bangs. Gear Junkies, Sup Tone Chasers. Happy Friday.
What up, what up?
Hey, Dan. And Red Cabin's listening but driving. Cheers, brother.
We get that often. I guess it's the time frame, right?
Well, I
of
mean,
people are
as
going
a
home.
kind of as a podcast, I mean,
That's basically, we're a live podcast. That's basically what we're doing.
but and Bangs, you're right. YouTube doesn't want to do anything about podcasts, but they're going to, because there's a massive market in it. Google, YouTube want to do things that are profitable.
Okay.
And 99% of what Google does isn't. But the 1% is horrifically profitable. Like, it just makes so much money.
And most of what, let's remember, as much as Google offers a bunch of non-subscription free services, they're still making tons of money off you.
Absolutely.
Every one of your emails gets scanned and used as an advertising profile. Like, they're making money. They're not having any trouble.
But YouTube, specifically YouTube, you have user-generated content that Google can sell ads with. They can put ads on your content and they can make money with it. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they do the same thing with podcasts?
Especially now that YouTube is doing it to non-monetized creators as well.
Yeah, and there's no exclusivity with YouTube. That's the interesting thing. There probably won't be exclusivity with YouTube and podcasts. I think there will be. I think there will be YouTube-branded podcasts that will come with the premium account. Big time. YouTube Premium includes premium podcasts. Of course it's going to. But I do believe that YouTube's going to be offering a great platform to allow people to grow with. How you doing, man? COVID's still kicking your ass, by the way?
Trying not to cough because whenever I cough, my rib... But it's not even for the noise. It's because every time I cough, like, I'm in excruciating pain. So every time this morning I was on with my boss and I was talking to him on the phone, and like in the middle of the call, I just started kind of hacking, but the coughs were coming out like, and he was like, he literally said to me, he's like, "Are you coming?" I said, of all the things that I'd be doing on a call with you, you think that's really going to be at the top of the list? I said, no, I'm trying to cough in a very discreet way that doesn't cause my abdomen to contract.
No, this is what I sound like when I'm coming, you asshole.
Stupid.
Bang says, I have a few discreet opinions on this subject. Pardon.
I saw that.
It's all good. Do you want to tell the
opinions.
class why you're in excruciating pain, by the way?
I mean, we can. I don't know that it's relevant to the stream, but so I'll distill it down to its essence. I'm at the grocery store. As some may remember, I have COVID. I'm in the tail end of it, obviously. As you can hear, I don't really sound that bad because I just have like a sort of lingering cough. Earlier this week, I damaged one of my ribs because I coughed so hard. Not fun. Don't recommend. At the grocery store, someone coming around the corner with their cart slammed like full speed straight into my side with the cracked rib on it. And I was like 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. And like, I'm wearing a mask. I'm wearing 2 masks because I got COVID, duh. And the lady who slammed her cart into me did the whole like, don't, like, get away from me. She says, get away from me. I don't want to get sick. And like, as I was telling Aiden before the stream, I have a lot of emotional intelligence. I don't lose my shit in public, but a combination of the pain and the ensuing coughing fit and the idiocy coming out of this woman's mouth, I had some not so happy words for that lady. And I was not using my inside voice.
Dylan's not getting a Christmas card from her.
No, probably not.
To say the least.
So like I get back and like I jump on the street, with Aiden. He's like, "Hey, buddy." I'm like, "Ugh."
Anybody wants a piece of me, I'll give it to them.
He's like that bad. I'm like, you don't even want to get me started. Oh Lord.
By the way, I'm going through the UA 276.
Mm-hmm.
The Volt 276. I absolutely love this thing, man.
Yeah, big fan.
It's fantastic. The vintage I could go without. I don't really need the vintage that much. That airiness that you got. Although with the airiness on the SM7B, I do have to say, it kind of brightens it up a bit. It gives it a little bit of body, and the compression. Do you can mute yourself for a second, man?
I was gonna say I thought I was muted, and then I was like, oh, nope, that was full on the air. That one.
The compression is quite nice, although the distortion builds up quickly. When you start gaining up, the distortion kicks in. Oh, and I mean that's part of the 1176, right? Is that just the touch of distortion that gives it the color and the niceties of the sound.
Yes, people usually use the 1176 because it's more flexible than most other compressors of the era. Certainly more flexible than the LA2A, though I like the sound of the LA2A more than the 1176. The 1176 has more applications than the LA2A or the LA3A.
Yeah. I have to say the lack of you have three presets for the compressor. That's it. There's no, you can't. I would love to see some sort of a program that would allow you to kind of tweak that compression.
Or like
yourself.
add your own presets.
Yeah, add your own presets. That's the only thing that I feel is lacking in an incredible, albeit expensive, interface. Like this.
It's kind of funny, you mentioning compressors and the different designs of them. A lot of people are like, why is the LA2A, and as a prime example, it has 2 knobs. Why is it so limited? Is often the question that I get from people, and it's like, it's not limited. It is a class of compressor in the early days of compressors, like the leveling amplifier. Its only purpose was supposed to be to even out volume levels of recorded things. That's it.
Yeah.
Whereas the 1176 also was kind of designed, the original LN 1176 was designed for that. But the 1176, because it was so customizable, kind of ushered in an era of compressors being used as an effect. Yep. Not just as a way to control input levels, even though that's not what the 1176 was originally designed for. But the LA2A, I still love it as an effect, but obviously it's got a gain reduction knob and like an output drive knob, and that's it. Oh, and it has 2 different ratios. It's got like a compress and a limit setting. I never use the limit setting. I don't even know if I know what it sounds like. But yeah, I don't know. Compressors are interesting beasts.
Well, isn't that like the audio industry though? That something's released for one specific thing, and they're like, "Hold my caution."
Well, yeah, let's see what else we could use it for.
Exactly.
God.
Damn, I'm late. Sorry, guys. There's usually a dunce cap for Ken.
I was gonna say Ken McCone.
Yeah, Ken usually wears it. Dab. One more time, man. We'll give you another shot.
We'll give him a break. He just moved to another province, so. He's kind of, his life's up in the air at the moment a little bit.
It was so a guy didn't have to ride the faders so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was literally like an automatic finger on a volume fader. That's exactly how, when I am teaching people to compression, that's exactly how I describe it. But at least when you're talking about it as a leveling amplifier.
But it's also, you take the human element out of it, the human element off the fader as well, right?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same, what you get in return is you get consistency.
Yes.
You get consistency, and like, nowadays, what we use compressors for, in addition to leveling amplification, although now our noise floors that we're dealing with are so low that rarely do I have compression going in printed in the recording. It's usually just dry.
Yeah.
Even vocal, it's dry.
Yeah.
But we use compressors to sculpt transients in the sense we use compressors to adjust the decay tail and the attack and those kinds of things. That's how we think about compression a lot these days. So it's interesting to look at how the approach to compression and EQ has changed decade per decade, because the way what EQ is used for back when they were invented to be used on telephone systems, very different purpose than what we use them for now, obviously.
No kidding. Going back to this big gear junkie, I missed that. It's going to take 68 years, but YouTube will replace the majority of your cable networks. The TV station channels are already funneling their content towards YouTube TV platform. And you know what? I think not just YouTube, but I think YouTube's brought a different era of entertainment. So like guys like Mr. Beast, who would have never made it on TV, are a form of content that people love to just absorb. That is something that 15 years ago was ludicrous. Like nobody would watch some random guy who or what do they call them? Vloggers?
Yeah.
VTubers or something like that. So that in itself is whether or not Big Bang Theory can take down Mr. Beast, and it can't. And I think that's what a lot of TV networks are realizing right now, that Mr. Beast wouldn't fail to any show that's on TV right now. Nobody... Sorry?
No, continue the thought.
Well, nobody would choose network TV over YouTube anymore. I was talking to my co-host yesterday about it. We're talking about how getting Stacked TV here in Canada, it's through Crave. It costs $12 a month. And you know what the sale is? You get live news, live global TV. I don't want to pay $12 a month to watch live TV. I would rather just watch stuff on demand. Even if I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to watch X show every week. every week I'm going to show up at the exact same time, watch it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do that. My life is not centered around TV like it used to be in the 90s and the 2000s.
No, and it does. So playing devil's advocate a little bit, it does worry me in the sense that Google's power over how people digest information is going up exponentially year by year, and it worries me the idea that one company, effectively Alphabet Inc., has control over the narrative of pretty much everything. And we're moving in that direction for video content. Obviously, social media, that's still branched out across. I mean, Facebook is still Facebook/Instagram, Meta is still the big kahuna. But the idea that TV moves over to a singular platform, and some people might make the argument, well, there's always been sort of one arbiter of content. It's called the FCC. It's like, yes, but their restrictions that they put on content are, I would argue, a little less specific than Google's, and also very clearly laid out. There's lots of stuff that Google has that, I hate to say it, very vague, and opens up a door for them to be like, we're taking that down because we don't like it. We don't really have a viable reason, but we have this one rule in our acceptable use policy that basically is super vague intentionally, so we can just rip your shit off.
I don't see, like, the way we're going right now, we already have certain providers of streaming buying out other providers. You have bundling packages like with Prime has, Crave, or not Crave, Stack TV, all those things with Disney. You've got Star, I think it is. So you're seeing these bundles start to happen, and I think it's all boiling down to, how we used to have just the three networks, ABC, CBS, NBC? We're going to have the three streaming giants, and then we're going to have the indie YouTube, which also is picking away at the big giants as well. But I think YouTube's going to end up coming out on top of that. So I don't think we're going to lose. I don't think we're moving towards a YouTube kingdom of no other streamers, no other. However, I do believe YouTube's going to dictate a lot. And stuff that can't live on YouTube. Well, stuff that can't live on YouTube, we'll just find another place to do it. We just haven't seen that other place yet.
Because I think, and the only reason I bring that up is because I think, especially now, as we've all seen with the legislation passed in Russia that makes it so you can't access websites outside of RU, the RU top level, it's very dangerous when people can't freely access many sources of information. Extremely dangerous culturally. So I'm always cognizant of that. Bangs' comment, Alphabet is a MySpace. I mean, Alphabet owns Google, so I don't think Alphabet's going anywhere. They are the main holding company for Google. So if Google exists, then Alphabet's going to be around. Google
has too much control. Alphabet has too much control as it is.
I'm convinced Alphabet is the Illuminati. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, I wouldn't be surprised as our stream gets disconnected.
If you look at the way that Google built itself with YouTube, when they purchased YouTube and then basically became the juggernaut that it is, they never switched to one thing or another. They always tried to do everything. And then just as things fell off, as things didn't work out, they're like, yeah, but this one thing that really did work out is going great. Gmail, YouTube, basically all of the Google things.
Even like Google Drive, Google Docs, Ms. Ravioli.
Yeah, Ms. Ravioli. Oh, you know what? I'm still on Top Chat. I'm not on Live Chat.
I always have to change it because it always defaults to Top
Ms.
Chat.
Ms. Ravioli, hi. We've been neglecting. So let's, 1 second.
No, I'm pretty sure she just posted because I just saw it pop up.
I haven't followed. 1 second. Did you see the launch of CNN Plus this week? No, we don't get that kind of stuff in Canada, and we also don't. It's just not talked about here. However, that's awesome. Got a price cut on launch day, $3 US a month. I mean, who's buying CNN Plus? I'm sorry. Like, if they're like, we have some news services here, nothing like that, but I don't even pay for any news service because you can get it everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. And the Alphabet controls access. Hey, yeah, here, all caught up. Nuno, Cosmos, hey, buddy. CNN Plus, fail. I think there's going to be a lot of, for services like Discovery kind of has it right. Discovery in Canada, Discovery Plus, whatever they call it. It just hitched its ride on somebody else. And CNN is going to end up doing that as well. CNN is going to broker a deal with one of the streaming giants and just going to tag itself on as
Yeah,
just
and
another.
I don't think companies combining their efforts is necessarily a bad idea. It's
They're
when
going
we
to have
start.
to.
Well, yeah, especially in this day and age where everyone is fighting for attention all the time.
Yep.
Because there's so many ways for us to be distracted from this, that, and this, that. I mean, it was different when CNN was the world's premier, Western delivery of news, but that's not the case anymore.
No.
There's lots of places, especially on YouTube, to get
news division. Wow. Yeah. Lots of division in that right now. Anyways, let's get off the YouTube bandwagon here before we turn into not a tech channel.
or not a channel at all.
Yeah. What's this switch do, huh? So the Volt 276 reviews on that, it's coming out soon. However, I was trying to get this ready for Monday because I was like, but then, well, the music video basically got done. So one mic, one song should be a go for Monday. Provided there's no hiccups with Dylan, because Dylan still hasn't watched the video. Have you?
No.
Okay.
Again, I've had to re-image an entire morning show today.
That's
I've had
fine.
no time.
That's fine.
I will after the stream.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. So one mic, one song is good to go on Monday. So if you think you can guess what the song is still, I doubt it. Nobody's even come close, Dylan. Like,
I don't know. I think I was pretty close with Aqua. With
Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Yeah, you know who's singing the other part, right? If that's your guess. Can you give me a line?
We're not gonna get Mrs. Dark Corner to chime in on that.
Nope.
You're like, not in a million years.
Dan, what do you guys think of the UA subscription service? I
mean, everyone's doing it.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
The only problem I have with the subscription service is if you are unable to purchase the product as standalone. The only way to access it, if you go the Adobe route, I have a problem with that because I think it's dirty. Now, from what I know, UA isn't doing that. UA is going to still be offering. What I love about the subscription service is if you're a content creator that's starting out, $1,200 startup for a bunch of crap that you're probably not going to use 80% of it, but you need that 20%.
Hardware as a service. Lol. We'll just add it to the ASS acronyms.
Hardware as a service. A lot of people think that's going to become a thing with a lot of things like microphones, computers. Apple's already talked about it.
When you think about it, and again, this is just me, devil's advocate again. Hardware breaks.
Yep.
All hardware breaks. Every single piece of hardware that has ever been built at some point will break. That is a fact. Physics is not avoidable. So the idea of paying a subscription for hardware and taking some of that onus of, oh shit, it broke, I gotta fix it. Especially if you're like a large facility owner, that's huge.
Yep.
That's huge because you don't need an engineering department anymore.
As long as the service is decent, yeah.
Exactly. As long as, in a company like UA, and also if they're going to offer it as a service, I feel like their service center game has to be ramped up a little bit. Like Antelope, for example, if Antelope is going to be offering as a service anything, they're going to need to get up some centers in more places than just Europe.
See, and that's the thing. So I love the concept from the end user that is not established. So like even with Adobe products, it's hard to argue with the concept for the first little bit until you can move over to whatever you can move over to. However, not having the ability on the other end, like if Apple were to go to a complete subscription service for computers, that would be garbage. $100 a month for an Apple. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
And
I mean, their hardware is generally known for failing a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean,
I think they're turning over a new leaf with the M1 era, though. I will say that.
To be fair to Apple, they push a lot of boundaries, and when you push boundaries in tech, you find a lot of hiccups.
When you're an innovator, you will fuck up.
Yep.
That is just fact. And I work for a company that fosters innovation, and we make mistakes like every day. So that's just normal. And if you run a business and you expect to have innovation with no errors, you are a tyrant and should not be in business.
We'll see how that goes for UA. As long as, like I said, as long as you're still offering the same product. I only heard the subscription service on for their plugins, and I didn't hear about it as gear. But even for the gear, I'll check it out. Thoughts on the Apple Studio or Studio Ultra?
I mean,
one.
they look ridiculous. I'll say that.
God,
they're just, the specs alone are just nonsense.
I want the Ultra. I will go for just the regular Studio. Good God, I want one bad, but they start at $2,500 Canadian.
Well, it's kind of like it's like the new era of like what the Mac Pro used to be, right? The Mac Pro used to be the be all end all, mainframe of the modern era.
This thing outpaces the $60,000 Mac Pro that they released like 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that most of that $60,000 price tag was like the 1.5 terabytes of fucking RAM.
Yeah.
So the computer, most of it wasn't really worth that much. It was just fucking. Yeah.
Dan says it's just plugins so far, at least. Yeah, and you know what? I think the infrastructure for making a product like whether it be a microphone, an interface, a computer, the infrastructure, Apple doesn't even have the infrastructure yet, and that's $1 trillion company.
Yep.
So I think like UA doing something like that would require a bunch more growth. I don't think there's ever, well, I don't want to say ever, but I don't think we're going to see in the near future any subscription for hardware.
The thing about, with the exception of Sennheiser, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is most of these companies are tiny.
Yeah.
Like they make amazing stuff, but like Shure is a very small company. I've called them and it's like, I feel like I'm calling a pizza joint.
Yeah,
like,
and you're getting the same guy too. Every once in a while, you're like, "Hey, Tom."
The same guy is like that. Every time I call their service, their warehouse, it's always the same guy, Chris. Chris is the guy that always answers the phone. He's like, "Hey, man."
Imagine you call and you get the operator. He's like, "Hello, Chris speaking.
Pretty much.
Service 1 second."
But like,
"Hi, this is service."
I kind of like that though, because it makes it easier for me as a consumer to develop a more intimate relationship with the brand, right?
Yeah.
I think it's harder to develop that same level of intimacy with a massive conglomerate like Sennheiser.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, Bangs. You gotta love Bangs. You can tell dudes from Reddit. 16 watching, 6 upvotes. Unless there's 6 upvotes from this on Reddit, if somebody posted this there. Good God, I can only imagine if we got posted to Reddit.
7 upvotes.
Hey, like the stream if you like it. Yeah, let's throw it out there. Upvote, whatever it is. Annika de Bruyne. I love the name. I wish I knew how to pronounce it.
I was going to say, I was about to say it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to let you butcher it first, not me.
Honestly, I kind of like that too. Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of things to like about it. Going back to the studio, I am going to be buying one I'm hoping by the end of the year.
You're going to be buying a studio? Like where?
Yeah.
Like, is it like a house?
Apple Studio, yeah.
Oh.
I would love to go with the Studio Ultra, but I kind of, with the 48-inch monitor or 43-inch monitor, I want to split screen it. So Windows on one side, because you can run screen and screen. So I could literally have my desktop on one side and the Apple on the other. It would be fantastic. Like, I would love that. So I'm hoping by the end of the year, maybe doing some Apple content above and beyond that, especially with the Final Cut Pro and yeah. Anyways, so the video is going up. Dylan, do you think this video wasn't in bad condition when you got it, right? The music video, it needed some extra stuff which you provided.
Oh, you mean the last
music
video?
Version. Yeah, the music video, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it needed more shots.
Yeah,
but other than that, I mean, it was
Oh, it's got more shots. You know, when you're trying to put something like this together, I've never put a music video together. You're literally sitting there. Is that too quick? Is that too short? How many bars should that show?
Oh man, for me, like I don't know. I've done not a ton of them, but I've done enough of them now that a lot of that ends up being feel. Like a lot of that, I'll just, as an editor, I'll sit and I'll watch it and I'll be like, okay, that feels like long enough. And usually I'm right.
It's also using like the crossfades and stuff like that for
Yep.
the video.
Which,
But
as
then-
for your type of content, you're not used to using those kind of weird
No.
esoteric transitions.
But then if you use it too much, it becomes overkill. It looks cheesy, and you got to have some hard cuts in there.
Did you like the bokeh shot I sent you for the keys from the side?
That was a nice shot, man. I
was
used
gonna
that
say,
a
I
few
don't know
times.
how much. I was gonna say I don't know how much you're gonna get out of that, but I was like, it's kind of cool. It's
Oh,
kinda
actually, you know what I used that for? Because that's one of the microphone, right?
Yep.
I used that in the intro. One mic, one song, one SM58, and it showed 2 shots of the SM58, both of them yours from the bass and from that. So it looks pretty cool. Everyone's sitting there going, "What the hell's he talking
Yeah,
about?"
well, you'll see. You'll all see.
Monday's video, man. It's gonna be my first ever music video that I've released.
It was so weird though, like because I was shooting on a certain light temperature on the lighting because it doesn't bounce around as easy as like red or and it's also more tolerable. But it was like really because I was monitoring the whole time in black and white. I set the monitor to black and white just so I could see what it would look like when you would flatten it. And then I'd go and open it on the computer before I send it to you. I'm like, why is it blue? I'm like, because it was blue, right?
My new light, the only thing I don't like about the it's not aperture, it's Amaran 100D, is there's absolutely no temperature. Like I'm scrolling my light up and down right now. Actually, I could reset that right about there. There's no temperature. You can't adjust the temperature. It's just it's daylight. Daylight, baby. That's all you get.
Interesting. I mean, most of the time, that's what you would be using.
Wait, Dab says I'm... Oh, okay, yeah, Dab is your buddy. Okay.
Yeah, he knows.
All right,
knows.
so Dab knows.
Dab, shut up.
So Dab, okay, without saying anything, Dab, it's Darren, right? Is it Darren?
It's Darren.
Darren, without saying anything about what the song is, what did you think? And we'll just sit here awkwardly and wait for Darren to respond.
I don't even remember when, and I don't even think he had the final mix. I think I sent him like as we were working on it, and I was describing the project and the whole one mic, one song thing. It was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And so I was like, oh, this is what the result kind of is leaning towards. And I was like, yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, my wife liked it. Yes, that's yes. Okay,
just yes.
What did you think? Yes, 1742. Cool. Very cool indeed. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it's absorbed by the community. I'm looking for because we have the community. It was not the final. Okay, the community we have here on YouTube is fantastic. Dark Corner Studios community, but it kind of gets segregated into live.
I was just gonna say that you have like the video commenters and regular P1 watchers, and then you've got the live stream people, and I'm sure there's overlap there, but. Like we talk a lot about music here, and then you'll release a video with a little chunk of a musical thing in it, and the retention drops to shit.
Well, I'm thinking that the idea of this being a cover will. Oh, it was a yes to Darren.
I just thought like, okay, that makes more sense.
Typing takes
I was gonna
longer,
say that, I would have just accepted like a yes. The song is yes.
Yes. Yes.
I enjoyed that.
Darren likes it, man. Darren likes it a lot. But yeah, like there's 3 distinct communities that I have kind of been digging their niche. The live stream audience, which overlaps with the Discord audience, very much so. But then you have the audience that just watches the videos quietly, and I see them all coming back. I've like almost 1,000 return viewers a day on this channel, which is really, really cool to see.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I don't know how how the other return viewers are going to take it. I'm wondering. Wilf Clegg can't wait for song video. I can't wait to put it out either. I mean, if this fails, if this is like one of like a 10 of 10 video, if this isn't 1 of 10, I'm gonna probably question what I spent the past 120 hours on.
I have a bruised rib, and I'm dragging my piano out into the living room at like 2:30 in the morning. I put it all in there.
Yeah, I gotta
put it. If it falls flat, I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's because of a lack of quality on either of our parts.
Not one bit. I gotta say, Dylan, you put in more work into this than I did.
Well, I just sort of like, I don't know, when you've done the music video, after a while, it just sort of, you go into autopilot. Like somebody says, oh, I need the instrumentation shots, and you just go, okay. And like I have to admit, as much as it is fucking exhausting.
Yes.
I do like video work. It is a lot of fun.
It
it's
is
different.
I find the problem I ran into with doing this video is this studio is set up for a very specific purpose.
Yep.
So like when I walk away from this table, everything stays where it is. The camera stays where it is. I'm not used to, okay, move the camera over here, move the camera over here. I just bought a brand new like $500 stand for my camera. Whatchamacallit, tripod. $500. Shut up.
Tripod.
It's Friday, man. $500 tripod for my camera, and it's heavy as hell. So like, okay, well, then you gotta get it down. I need like an on the go tripod that is quick to maneuver around.
That's the one that I have. I think it was like $100 one, which for an on the go is actually up a little bit more up there in the price range. And it works well, and it collapses to like this big, and I can like literally, I can fit it in my back pocket. I'm not even kidding.
And those are great until you have to leave a camera and a teleprompter on it 24/7.
Right.
Then
Well,
it
that's the
starts
problem.
to weigh
Is
down.
my on the go tripod is not really an on the go tripod anymore because it has a monitor on it. It's got a camera on it. It's got a audio interface strapped to it. It's got a intervalometer receiver attached to it. It's got a counterweights to stop everything from fucking falling off. So yeah, that is permanently affixed with everything on it. And if anyone's like, "Hey, I need you to come out and do a video shoot," I'm like, "Nope."
Dan
That's
says
not happening.
you need your YouTube cart build. See, and I was gonna build that with the maker pipe. Is a cart of just basically you unfold it and it's like already
Everything
set
you
up
need.
for video.
That's pretty great.
And to have the camera on like a slider where it slides down. Oh, you know what I could get? I could get one of those
little motorized ones, the motorized sliders.
No, what I would get was I would get a piston style, so it actually has fluid.
Yeah, you've got kind of a speed governance to it.
Yeah, that would that would be fantastic.
Yeah, those work well. I mean,
Put it
they're
on
not
an
cheap,
XY.
the gas piston stuff, but they're worth it.
Yeah, no, and
I mean,
I would.
if you found somebody with an old hatchback,
Yeah,
I mean, that they don't care too much about, just
Yeah,
rip
or-
the pistons off it.
or if you're very quiet taking pistons off a vehicle at night. I mean, if you're good with a flashlight in your mouth and you can pull a piston off, all yours.
Good on you.
Bang says on the go tripod equals children. You know what? So I'm not calling my son out, but I'm going to call my son out.
Oh boy.
The one time I asked him, dude, can you just hold a camera? This is way back when I first started Dark Corner Studios, and I needed one shot from a specific angle. I didn't want to go through the rigmarole of setting it all up with because the lights were garbage at the time. And so I'm like, dude, just hold the camera. And he held it, and I could see his hands going back and forth and shaking. And I'm like, you had to hold a camera straight for like 20 seconds, man. Apparently, it's an art form. My wife refuses to do it. My youngest daughter's only 9, so I can't really ask them to do it.
I think the key to it, and you know, as a non-professional cameraman, take
As
this with
am
a grain
I.
of salt. I think the key is anchor points.
Yeah.
Having, like, for me, I always, when I'm
Elbows.
holding a camera and I need
Yep.
to be steady, elbows flat against my chest.
Yep.
And kind of out like this. Or even if I can kind of rest one arm, like if I'm shooting close to a surface and I can rest one arm against a wall or something and use that, just because, having all of these joints just willy-nilly moving about, that's going to be a problem unless
you put the strap on around your neck, you pull
Yes,
the
yep.
camera tight
yeah,
against
taut,
the strap,
super,
and
super
your
taut.
elbows up against your gut or rib
That's
cage, whatever comes
that's
out
the
first.
money. That's the money maker. And then when you have to move, if you go about it moving your whole body with it, you can get really
you
smooth
see Peter
shots.
McKinnon do those where he kind of falls forward with the camera. I've tried it a few times. I'm
or,
not a cinematographer.
Or get a gimbal.
But then you got to have somebody run the gimbal. So,
Right. Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. Like, I don't, as much as it is funny what Bangs is saying. There is a professional application for on-the-go tripods, especially like when I have to shoot a video. I'm one person. I live alone. When I go out, I need shit to be light. I need it to be compact. I need it to be functional. Now, obviously, the ball head on a lot of these on-the-go tripods is absolute shit for getting motion.
It's garbage.
But I mount my gimbal to the top of the tripod. Problem solved.
Yep. Yeah, I got the fluid head. I forget what the name of this tripod is, but the fluid video head, fantastic.
Oh yeah, I need to,
So
and
nice.
you know the heads are interchangeable, so I fully intend at some point to get a video because what I use my tripod for more often than not is photography. And on-the-go tripods for photography are fine because you're not moving. You don't need to really worry about movement. Now, you want something that's relatively stable so that if you're getting long exposures or something that you can not worry about vibrations and shit.
The fluid head is nice. Like I want to build a B-roll setup where I can do proper B-roll of stuff. I would also love to be able to have so you know the little graphics you can get where you're looking at the front of an interface and you see a little line come up and it'll say what each one is.
Yeah, like whoop.
Yeah, some of those little graphics. But then I've got to learn how to do it, or I've got to pay somebody to do it. Neither seems to be happening anytime soon. So
After Effects is a different beast. I've done some coding in After Effects. It's very different from Premiere, but it's not impossible. So I would say you have it. So taking some time to learn it might be a good idea.
It's how to learn. So when you go to school to learn something, let's say,
and they lay out a very nicely planned. Yeah.
So you're going to start by drawing a point between A and B. Okay, good job. Now you're going to draw a point between B and C. And when you sit down to learn at a YouTube level, it's like, okay, so you know how we went from A to Z? Well, no, we're going to go M to P, and and it's like, wait a sec, how do you do A to B? And you don't have that. So if you want to learn how to use stuff like that, you have to my brain needs to look at it from the very beginning. Why does this happen?
You need some
Why
linearity.
does this happen? Yes.
You need some linearity.
And I also need things to be explained to me as to why they happen. You can't just say A to B works there. Done. Why does it work? So I'm very unique in the way I learn things, and YouTube just isn't doing it for After Effects for me. I almost need to go
at that point you go to like lynda.com or either actually go into a graphic design course somewhere.
I've considered going back to college just for that one course on how to use it would take me 3 months?
Probably.
Yeah. So I think that might happen just so I can do my own stuff. We're on a tangent. Nobody's chatting. I love it. It's great. 7 likes.
No, nobody's chatting because Bangs said he was done, and so everyone lost interest now that Bangs said that he was done.
Bangs is out. Other than that, the music video coming soon. The Volt. There was one other. Oh, SCV7, and I have another SC mic. So here's an awkward conversation to have, and this is one of those going back to the ethics of having a YouTube channel and selling content and blah blah blah. So SE sent me their broadcast mic. I can't remember the Dynacaster. They sent me the Dynacaster. Along with it, they also sent me the Neome. They sent me SCV7, 2 SCV7s. Oh, and the Dynamite 2. So they sent me that big package all in one. So she saw the woman who sent me the stuff, who is probably their marketing director, saw the first video on the Dynacaster. She's like, "I'm so happy you liked it. It's great. Thank you for being honest." And that's awesome. I can't wait to see the other videos. And I've got the Neome video all set up, and the Neome videos. Boy. I literally say in the video, I'm like, probably should just go buy the AKG Lyra. I actually say that in the video. And now I'm like, oh well, this is gonna be shitty. But at the same time, it's also and it's you sent me a bunch of products. Make sure your product does. So here's the thing with the Neome, and I'm actually going to spoil a bit of it. There's only 13 people on stream. There's 11 on stream right now. Okay. The problem with the Neome is when you gain up, on USB mics, they'll have that little ring around the volume that'll tell you if you're peaking. It'll go red when you peak, right?
Sure.
Yeah. It's the same thing on the Scarlett 2i2. On the little knob, you have that little ring.
Yeah, a little bi-color LED.
So with the Neome, when you turn it up about to halfway, it starts pinging red, even though you're not actually peaking in your DAW. So that tells me that you're overdriving either the converter or the pre. The pre is probably...
Or they've done something weird and they have an integrated soft limiter and the red light, instead of the red light signaling clipping, it's signaling soft limiter engagement.
Nope. I can honestly tell you, considering all the distortion that comes out of that fucker, they ain't no limiter in that.
So have you done measurements? So when it starts to, what I would do is I would be interested to test it. So I'd get like a 1K test tone on my phone, put it up to the mic, gain it up until like right as it's just little lights just putzing around, and then I'd look at what the level is. Like, is it like -2? Is it -10?
I actually have in the video, I'm showing while I talk into the microphone, I'm peaking at -9, like peaking at -9, like the top peaks, and it's already going red on me.
Yeah, that's concerning.
That is wildly concerning. And that could be a bad pre, but I have to go on the premise that the product I was sent is good.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not going to like the next video that goes out. I have a feeling my contact with SE is about to go down a shit. And that's okay. I'm sure they'll send me more stuff at some point in the near future when, I don't know, staff turns over and they forget that I exist. Did you see the XLR cable with the inline preamp built on? Oh, that's fantastic. Good for obscure mics. Good for him. I haven't, you know what? I don't keep up on YouTube as much as I really want to, especially the past month. I just haven't had the time. He did reach out to me after I did my Frankenstein mic. He liked the video. I should really sit down and start watching more obscure mics. That fantastic inline preamp on an XLR cable. Dylan, what do you think? It's kind of like what Lewitt did today. They did an April Fool's.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard because, I mean, it's just, mic activator circuitry built into the cable. How elegant it is, that's obviously up for design debate.
You could fit that into an XLR pack. The, not the Dynamite. Fethead. You could fit that into an XLR easily.
Yep, like, it'd be a little beefier of an XLR cable. But
no, you could put it in the head. It would fit in the head. In the XLR plug. I bet you any money. That circuit board is maybe 5 millimeters deep. Maybe.
Still.
Maybe.
As someone that has made many XLR cables in my life, that's very and most of that space inside the XLR connector is taken up by the retention bracket. There's no space in there. But
you'd have to remove the retention bracket,
which
to have it
means you're now making the cable
gonna die. This is interesting. Bang says something. It's a poor man limiter that is a warning light to keep idiots from recording at -1 dB.
But if it still distorts,
so I never really looked at where it starts distortion. I didn't go into it because I wasn't that invested in a bloody USB microphone that costs way more than it should.
Well, I think it's kind of like on medium to more expensive interfaces, the yellow LED. It's basically what the yellow LED means on the meter. But it's like, slow down.
If you need a diaper on your USB mic, you're doing it wrong. You should at least have the opportunity to turn that off. There should be a software piece where you can go in and like, click, I don't need a diaper on my USB mic. Because that's, like, if it's peaking at -9 and I'm already showing that red light, and I do know that there was distortion being added without it peaking in the DAW, but I didn't really sit down and start doing the measurements to see exactly how far in it was. So it's a USB mic. I wasn't going to spend a week and a half doing the measurements on it.
No.
Just posted Amazon link to cable if you can see. I cannot see any Amazon.
I was going to say, I cannot see either.
Feel free to email it to me, Bangs. Emails on the YouTube channel under About. Maybe the halo is not calibrated. Well, if the halo is not calibrated, you're sending out a microphone that's not finished.
You're sending us something that's faulty.
And you are basically asking for a shitty review if that's the case.
Yeah, well, because again, like, if you want to send it out uncalibrated, that's fine. But is it user calibratable? If yes, okay, sure. If it's not, you're a shitty company.
The worst part is it's an expensive mic too. I think it runs for $200.
Which for a USB mic is
It's expensive and it's nice. Like, it's probably the nicest looking USB mic out there in my mind. I love it. It looks very fantastic.
Quiet.
Well, no, it goes to 11. That's the other thing that this is the frustrating part about this.
You said it won't record past -9.
Well, no, it will record. That's at 2 on the gain dial. At 2 on the gain dial. Okay, so let me back up here.
Let's backtrack.
So while I'm talking into the microphone with it at 2 on the gain dial, my peaks are coming out in the DAW at -9, and I'm talking about the peaks.
The peaks.
However, with it at 2, I'm already getting the red light telling me I'm peaking. Now I get it, I've got a loud voice. But here's the thing. On the little volume dial, on the gain dial, if you will, it goes to 11, because that's the joke on this. It's kind of a throwback to, the movie. Not even going to say it. I actually have a couple clips of it in the... Why does it go to 11 if you can't gain up past 2? Like a normal speaking voice. What are you miking up that is that fucking quiet?
ASMR.
Oh, God.
I mean, let's be honest. Is it stereo or mono?
Oh, it's just mono.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and that's the other thing. They released a microphone that was for podcasters, streamers, and musicians. When you have a whole bunch of USB microphone options on the market for musicians with stereo, why would you exclude that?
It's kind of funny. Like, as we were talking about it, like my knee-jerk reaction, and Bangs is going to throw a shit fit when I say this. But my knee-jerk reaction when you're saying that records at -9, at first I'm like, well, you're wasting 8 dB. And I'm like, wait, we never record hot at -9. -9 is dangerously hot to be recording at.
Yep.
Because in the professional world, you shoot for -18. That's your normal.
Yep.
You're shooting for 0 dBu, which on most converters is about -18, -20. So like -9, it's like, I mean, for peaks, but those are some heavy peaks. But
Yep.
obviously for shittier converters, for 16-bit interfaces, all that kind of stuff, yeah, you're going to want to maximize your headroom a little bit. But,
Dan, your
minimize your headroom.
Yeah, Dan, your SE relationship should be fine. How bad could your V7 reviews be anyway? I haven't even plugged in the V7 yet. So I haven't had time between the music video. I got the Volt. I've got the UA SD1 on the way. I've also got the UA interface for the SD1 review that I'm going to be sending back. I decided I'm not going to be keeping it. If I want to buy the UA SD1, I'll just buy one. But yeah, so I've got so much like piling up at the moment, and I was trying to finish the music video while trying to do this. So yeah, I'm going to get around to the V7 in a bit. I still have a video I shot on it's on a boom arm video that I know is just going to do fantastic out there, isn't it? Boom arm videos, people love those. And it's probably 2 months old, and it still hasn't gone to air on the channel. Just because it keeps getting pushed by stuff that needs to go out. So it'll get there eventually. Bill, what's the best way to tell if a microphone takes EQ well? Is it mostly a function of low self-noise, a flat frequency response, something else?
That is an interesting question. I will field this.
Yep.
Jason's like, so usually what I would say is number one, it depends on the EQ. There are some EQs that are designed to sound very surgical in what they do. So oftentimes graphic EQs are designed that way. Whereas there are other EQs like certain, major brand parametric EQs are designed to sound very musical or very, they're designed to have sound that is very complementary intentionally. Like Pultec EQs are like the granddaddy of EQs that are designed to be intentionally nonlinear in how they treat. But I'd say as far as how the EQ and the microphone have a relationship, that is largely dependent on how balanced the pressure response of the microphone is. And so when I say that, what I mean is a lot of microphones, when their frequency response differs based on the input level or the pressure level going into the microphone, the SPL level. So at higher volume levels, you won't get the same frequency response just through resonances, through imperfections in manufacturing, all kinds of reasons. So I would say generally the more linear the pressure response is of a microphone, in other words, the more balanced and stable the frequency response stays. So for example, with a tube mic, you will never get that. But that said, tube mics have their own coloration that also kind of, I often don't really need to do a ton of EQing to a lot of tube mics. But so I would say, for example, SDCs, pencil mics, are known for being relatively flat and stable, more so than large diaphragm condensers. So if you're looking for a mic that will react well, dynamic mics are generally not there, just as the nature of how dynamic mics work, electromotive force. But pencil mics always, in my experience, react the best to EQing in terms of the way you hear the thing that you're trying to do is the way that it comes out when you try to do it.
So I'm just looking at the mic lifter cable that Bang sent me. Oh, that is fantastic.
Let's take a vote. Who's spaced out while I...
No, I wasn't spacing out.
I know you were, but I'm just like imagining like there's so many people on the street that are like snore.
No, actually, well, that's fascinating stuff because not a lot of people realize that there's so many functions that change. Not functions. Function isn't the right word. When they do testing on, let's say, just say the off-axis rejection, or the whatchamacallit, the so a cardioid microphone doesn't stay in the same cardioid pickup pattern depending on the frequency. So if you give it a 1K frequency, it's going to have a different pickup pattern than it would at a 5K frequency. Yes. You okay over there?
No, Bang said something that I have to test this.
I didn't see where Bang said anything.
No, he said neg 18 dBFS is about 0 dBV. So in my case right now, and again, this could be the board.
Okay.
But, when I was just popping it about neg 0, it's on the multimeter, it was showing me 0.775 volts, which would be, 0.773, but
yeah,
like right there, it's 0 dBu.
So,
or 0 dBb would be 1 volt.
So a lot of people I don't think understand that a microphone is very, like, it's a moving...
They're reactive.
Yeah, they're reactive, but they react differently. Everything, the tests or the numbers you see are based on a specific frequency going through the microphone and how it reacts differently with different frequencies and all that.
And also the space. I mean, the space that you're in makes a huge difference. The room and the way that it plays a factor in the non-linearity of the pressure gradient of a sound.
Yep.
So yeah, and especially dynamic mics tend to be the most lopsided in the sense, but that's kind of almost what we like about them. Is that, like, for example, the SM7 is very nonlinear in how it responds, which is part of what makes it sound so beautiful, because it has that reactivity, especially in the low end. The SM7 has a very special frequency response gradient in its low end and how it responds to that low end stuff, whereas the 58 or 57 are a little bit less colorful in how they deal with it.
But them being nonlinear lends itself to the fact that they're strictly mechanical. Like and they're
just speakers backwards.
Yeah, basically. So that's why it's nonlinear. Have
you ever? Here's a fun thing for you to try to do, Aiden, in your studio, and this is safe.
Yes, yeah. I have done it. I know what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say get a headphone jack. If you have an XLR to 1/4 inch and plug in like an XM 8500 or 1800S or something, a mic that you don't really care about that much. And you can actually, and the thing I always found funny about doing that as a kid, plugging and using a microphone as headphones, which don't do this, people. It can damage your microphones if you're not careful. But is that how directional the sound is? Like you point the mic at something, and like it's almost why I wish condenser mics don't work that way. So it's unfortunate. But I always wanted to do that with shotgun mic because I'm like, man, I could point that at someone's head and nobody else would hear it.
Nope.
It would be just that guy would think he's got like schizophrenia or something.
The speaker is that big on a dynamic microphone.
And it's because of in the case of like a 58, it's the acoustic labyrinth behind the capsule that creates that cardioid pattern.
Yeah.
Because you need that. If you didn't have that acoustic labyrinth behind the capsule to delay the pressure of the sound to cancel each other out, it would just be an omnidirectional mic. Which is what a lot of people think, oh, well, the mic has a grill pointing in that direction, so it must be directional. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
There's lots of mics, actually, that had interchangeable capsules, and what you often notice is the omnidirectional capsules have no little grill behind or any kind of space behind the capsules, so there's no acoustic labyrinth.
Bang says lots of consumer shotguns are battery-powered and would work. Ooh.
Would work for what?
For using a shotgun to actually point it, and so a very individual person would hear it.
Yeah, but condenser mics aren't reversible. You can't make a speaker out of condenser.
Yeah, now because you're having if
you had a shotgun mic for some reason, again, most like I'd say not. I've never heard of anything different than this. So I'm tempted to say all shotgun microphones are electret condensers.
Probably.
But if you had a dynamic shotgun mic, then I guess you could do that, provided you could actually backfeed the preamp, which
they're not backwards speakers. So
No.
because you've got a slight film that's just creating
Well, again,
electrical
like
signal.
condenser mics work off capacitance. So
Yes.
unless you had some way to be able to manually move the plates around to create air pressure changes, i.e., sound, you can't reverse feed a condenser.
Yeah,
mic.
it makes sense. Wow, we've been on for an hour already, dude.
I'm not surprised.
I think
Getting lighter out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody for showing up. The video is on the way. The music video is starting on Monday. Watch it and let me know what you think. I want feedback on this. I definitely want feedback on this. The concept, once again, is one mic, one song. It's the SM58.
Holy shit.
What?
Bangs, if you could find that, I want to see that. If you can find that, email it to Aiden because I really want to see that. That sounds really cool.
Dynamic shotgun one.
It's
5'6".
6 feet. Like, Jesus.
Jeez.
That's nuts.
That's
That's awesome, though.
Meant
Like, I
for
kinda
football
want one of
games
those.
in the 70s. Nice.
Well, that's it. I guess back in the era when they didn't know any better.
What I will say about the song coming up on Monday, I am taking requests on the next mic to use. I'm not taking requests on the next song to be used. That is very much an artistic choice of what song is going to be used.
And it's also, dependent on, like, we are not necessarily musical Swiss Army knives.
No.
So we're obviously going to pick a song that we're actually capable of doing.
I can't do funk. Can't do
Really?
it. Nope. I cannot funk. I don't know why.
Funk off.
No, I'm very hard set into my blues rock. I will always default to blues every time I pick up a guitar. It's just
I can dig that.
pentatonic. The pentatonic minor scale is it's just perfect.
So you default to blues, which is why you chose the first song, which predominantly has 3 chords.
Yes.
4 technically if you include the
3-chord
chorus.
wonder. I do also have another concept video coming up that I'm gonna kind of curious to see how people can you record voiceover in your car. Because a lot of people say you get some of the best acoustics in your car. It is kind of
Stay away from the windows, but yeah, I think you can.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. I'm actually going to try to record, and it's going to be a blind taste test once again. I will give the results in the video, though. I won't make you wait for a second video. It should be cool. Suggestions, not requests. Take requests, man. Closed fingers, though. Oh, cheers, Ms. Ravioli. Love you, too. Blues, indeed. Blues is the best. Is this something about some dirty SRV?
Well, it's emotional, right? It's one of the most emotional forms of music.
Have you ever cried at a live performance of a song? Single
Yes.
tear counts.
Absolutely.
There's a song by Alter Bridge called Blackbird. It's not the Blackbird that you're thinking,
I know, obviously.
but the solo in that, hearing it live, the build-up, because the song itself is a very emotional goodbye penned letter about somebody that died. And when the solo hits, the emotion of the solo, I don't know why I had a tear streaming down my eyes. I'm in a rock concert. Everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like sitting here like with a tear going down my cheek. Yeah, there's something about emotional music that just right there. Freebird, right? Freebird's one of the best songs of all time.
Classic.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend. And